Hi everybody, it's Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying another sea trout fly for you. This is the Brenda. I think it originated in Denmark or Sweden. Very popular fly. I would say they probably take it, it could be kind of general imitation, either a shrimp or a stickleback or something. As always, there will be materials list in the description, along with a link to my social media and the Patreon page for anybody who would like to support the channel. That would be very appreciated, and you'll get access to some members only content, or patrons only content, I suppose I should say. So get my hook and my vise. This is a Partridge saltwater shrimp, size 6. Although you could use you could use a straighter hook if you wish. And I've got a 4mm gold bead. This is just brass, but if you want, you can use tungsten if you want a stronger jigging motion. Just going to run on my thread. I'm going to come round the bend till just about in line with the barb. For the tail, I'm just going to use some Hackle. You could use, I've seen these tied, people using just the body dubbing, or you could get if you get marabou the same colour, that would also be fine. But I'm sort of sticking with the original a wee bit here. And I'm just using, this is just ginger Chinese cock hackle. I'm just going to strip the fibres. And roll them up. I don't want them, I'm not trying to make them super even. I don't mind a bit of taper. And I want like a hook length or a shank length off the back. Just tie that down. I'll just draw away any wee shorter ones that didn't make it. And I'll just take everything up, make sure that's sort of tidy, and then I'll get a wee bit of crystal flash. And this is rainbow, is the colour, so it matches the dubbing. We'll take just two strands, that's plenty. Although, if you want more, you can put them in, so it's your fly. Got to fold it across the thread, sorry, right in the middle, and run it all the way back. That means you catch anything. And then I'll leave these longer, but I want to cut them unevenly. Right, so they're all different lengths, and in the water they kind of stay nice and separate. Now, got a wee bit of dubbing. This is Salmo Supreme dubbing, and the colour's rainbow. Right, it's blue and red and kind of olive and yellow. Wee bit of gold flash in there as well. I'm just going to come up a wee bit. Keep your dubbing tight. You can tighten it as you go. That's enough. So I'm just about in line with the point of the hook, slightly behind it. And this, if you use that as your measure, you use a hook as your measure, it means it's much easier to have like the 3 hackles in fairly evenly. So I'll have one here, and then if I split the shank like that, the next one is right in the middle. So you want a ginger cock hackle. I'm actually using a sort of a variant cape. It's got a very slight barring, but you hardly see it, although it does look quite good when it does appear, so I quite like it. Hackle, reasonably long. These might be okay. I'm going to just whip all 3 of them off at the same time. That means when I go back into the cape, I don't need to go back into the cape on this fly. So it keeps the feathers quite consistent. And what you actually get by having if you see the barb length comes kind of into the tail, as you move along, you're moving basically half a barb length, so it gives you a nice sort of tapered effect in the fly. I'm going to tie this tag end down to the midpoint, and that's my measure for the next body section. Just folding the hackle as I wind it. Oops. Grab my hackle pliers, it's a wee bit slick. Go back. I'll try that again. I like a few turns. I like it to be quite bushy. I think it looks nice in the fly. You know, you're not really adding a whole lot of density, because it's 3 separate hackles rather than a very heavily palmered hackle. So I've caught that and I've come across my thread. I'm just going to fold the tip back, sweep everything back, and then I'm actually going to wind back onto it to push that dubbing, the feather up against the dubbing, slope it back. Now it's just the same thing again, a bit more dubbing, cut that stuff off the disc, and then come in, bang it on the thread. And then I'm going to just come up to where I trimmed you can run your thread through just to tighten that up if you need to. Just got to come up there, and that's where I trimmed the stalk. Now you'll notice there that's slightly shorter than halfway, right? A common mistake is that when you measure it, you tie up until the halfway point, but then you've got to have another 2 mil of hackle, or whatever, 1.5 mil of hackle, which pushes everything forward and it'll knock your proportions off. So just be conscious of that, try to keep it slightly further back. And just doing the same thing again, just getting my hackle good side facing me. If you grip it so that the convex side, or the side that shows up on the cape is in your thumb, and your index fingers on the inside. It's very easy, you just hold it on the inside. 2 or 3 wraps, right? You don't need to be jiggling your thread around it or anything. That's perfect. Trim away my butt, and then I'll just run it along to tidy up, and then I'll wind the hackle. One turn in front of the other. Just use my fingers just to trap it each time. Come across your thread, bend the stem, and fold it back, and do the same thing. Just tie back over it. Push that hackle back onto the dubbing. And you can see it's starting to take shape. And then the last bit is just a bit more dubbing, and then another hackle. Get that dubbing right back there. And the same again, you can see I've left a wee gap at the front there for this hackle. Tie it in nice and secure. Then I'll just wind this. I don't know how well you can see it in the camera, but there is a faint difference because it's this variant cape. Wee bits of dark kind of flecks thrown through bits that are lighter. I really like that. But as I say, it's up to you. If you want to just use a plain ginger, by all means do so. Catch that in. Fold everything back and secure it. Where's my tip went? Just snap away the tip. So the fly's basically done. A lot of people just finish it here, but I like to just add a wee bit more dubbing just to sort of bed up to the back of the bead, although you don't need to. I just like the look of it. That's plenty, just that wee pinch. It just helps to sort of press that front hackle back a wee bit, and I think smooths out the transition so you don't have a great big thread head. Or collar I should say, I suppose you've got the gold head on it. Couple of flip finishes. Support your out and pull them nice and tight. And then what really makes this fly, I think, is the Velcro. You know, I've said before in many of my videos, there's no point in dubbing if you're not going to brush it. I think pull these fibres out into the hackle, get everything going back, and you'll start to get that nice form. And there you go, that is the Brenda. Very effective seatrout pattern. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my head cement with a brush and I'm going to brush the bead and that will run and let it run onto the thread wraps and all that. And the reason for that is you're putting it in salt water. If you varnish the bead, it will stay gold. If you don't, it'll obviously oxidise and the salt water will take all the shine off it. So there you go. That's a nice wee tip. Keep your bead gold. Get 2 coats, I'll give it another coat once this is dry, and that's it. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. Tight lines, guys. Bye.